Quick look at some software called Tailo. Now, Tailo is an online application that will let you upload documents. Uses quite a lot of AI and helps you with sort of research and things around projects. So we'll get straight into it. Show you what it's all. So this is Tailo. Nice, simple interface. As usual, all my stuff I've got it set on to dark mode at the moment. So that's why it's all black on the screen. But you can set it to whatever you want to in the options. So if I click on upload, I can look for a document I want to use. So here's one I downloaded from the internet a while ago. So it shouldn't take too long to do. It gives you a bit of a indicator on the right hand side of the screen there that it's processing documents. It'll just take a few minutes to upload that one. Hopefully not too long. And while it's doing that, we can have a look at some of the settings. So you've got account settings in there, summary preferences, how you want it to assist you reading, appearance options, that's where you can change it to dark mode or light mode with different colours. Like an edge, you've also got some options on reading view and reading aloud options in there as well. We'll come into those in a little bit more detail shortly. So bear with me a second while this is doing its thing. Also got some options on the left hand side here. So you've got a blog on there, there's feedback and things you can give, stuff about your projects and research guys. All this make a bit more sense once we get stuck into. There you go. So it's finished uploading. So I can click on the document and view it's see it's uploaded. And if I scroll down the screen a little bit, I've got this research area and this projects area. So if I click on start research, so you can put a particular topic that you're researching. So let's put autism diagnosis in adults. And then you could put a research question in. So, how is autism diagnosed in adults compared with children, for example? And generate. And then obviously using AI type tools, it will then look at that question, look at the topic, and hopefully come up with some interesting stuff. Again, it might take a few seconds. There's a little bit of information further down here as well about research papers and key findings, and it gives you some sort of hints and tips about how to start, how to finish, how to organize things, that sort of stuff as well. So it's worth having a quick read for that while you're waiting for it to do its thing. So the good thing about this software is it does take a lot of the sort of the research process out of the equation with all the AI tools. Obviously, with anything with AI, you have to be a little bit careful in terms of what you're using it for. But this isn't actually doing the work for you as such. It's just helping you with your research side of things. It's not actually doing any finished products for you with this software. So as a research tool, I think AI is absolutely fine because it's just the same sort of thing as you do if you were searching on the internet, looking at Google and stuff, but it just does things a lot quicker and a bit more succinctly in one place for you. So if you're ever concerned and that you're allowed to use AI or not to do this sort of thing, it's always worth just speaking with university, business, whatever it is you might be. So there you go. So it's done this. It says it's a 35-minute read, so I can read it back even myself, or I can have it read aloud as well. So let's have a quick look through this. So it's summarized it into key findings, and you can generate a podcast, which we'll have a look at in a second, and you can read all the different parts aloud as well. So if I click on read aloud, so 1 second. I might need to add it to a project first. Okay, so I need to create a new project first. Oh, no, is it still doing stuff? I think it's still doing stuff. Just bear with me a second. Things are being a bit strange. Let me just go back to my main menu, create new project. I'll do. And pop back into there again. Go back into our research. Oh, it seems to be working now. I think it was still generating things. So anyway, I'm going to add it to my project, and then read aloud should now start working.
Key findings. Key findings. Key findings.
I'm trying to get to skip to the next section because I think it's still trying to do things at the
Key
moment, which is why
findings.
it's not reading everything. I think it's still processing stuff. So anyway, we can come back to that in a minute. But anyway, it gives you a bit of a breakdown. Change the speed of the playback. You can change a few settings in terms of the voice. So it's Gavin, it's my brother's name, but there's a few others on there as well. You can add extra projects. You can look at references as well. So you can choose your reference style. So quite a lot of universities use Harvard. Some use the APA if they're doing psychology. Various different ones on there. So hopefully one of those will be suitable. You can export references to different programs as well, like Zotero. Look at all different properties, and it tells you it's AI generated and stuff in this particular research that I've been doing.
Key findings.
Yeah, it does not want to read beyond key findings. Maybe if I highlight it, it might do it.
Key findings.
Nope, maybe not. But speaking of highlighting, if I click and drag over some text, I can use highlighter type tools. I can highlight that text if I want to. I can also click on this define option. And it gives me a definition of what autism is. I can also click on explain, and it can go into a bit more detail about what it's all about. It just might take a little bit longer to do that bit. There you go. So it's giving me a bit of information there as well. And I can also add any comments I want to those things, those highlights as well. So, oops. So a few different options in there. It does seem to be being a little bit slow today. I think there'll probably be a lot of students using these at the moment to around exam time. So it might be slowing things down a little bit. But if I click on generate on the podcast, there's another quite nice feature. While that's doing that, we can see if the read aloud bit's working down here.
Getting started with research papers. As you explore research papers, start by looking at the key findings, then download the ones that interest you and add them into Tailo.
So yes, that's working okay in that section. I'm not too sure why it wasn't working in the top bit. Maybe because it's
Key findings.
yeah, maybe it's just because it's like a broken down bit there. I don't know. Anyway. And it also indicates that I've got a comment associated with that as well. And so I can look back to any of those things at any point. Back it in. So along the right hand side here, while it's generating my podcast, there's a few different options. So we've got a tutor. So this is basically like an AI chat type tool. It gives you some ideas of what some of the things you can ask. So what are you working on? So it's all to do with the paper, whatever it is that you've uploaded. So let's just choose one of these ones for now. Understand the main ideas. Then it will take you to the research guide, or you can ask a specific question. It's the main question in this paper. Let's see what it comes up with this, if anything. There you go. So it's pretty quick as well. So it's come up with what the idea of the paper is, but it's just using the information that's just been uploaded to it. So it's not doing any extra work for you. It's just using what you've provided with it with basically. If I click back on here again, so the define option. So I can either click and drag over word and click on define or explain, or I can just click on define here and I can type in whatever I want. Let's see if it will define things that are outside of the paper. No, it hasn't done, I don't think. So let's just try a random word, see if it does it. Oh, it does, yeah, that's fine. And similarly, we've got the explain option in there as well, so we can generate an explanation of a term or concept. The highlights we've already mentioned and the comments we've already mentioned. So it's just a different way to get to the same things, basically. Let's see how our podcast is getting on. Oh, that seems to have done already. So it gives you a transcription of the podcast, and it gives you two different speakers in the podcast as well. So we can have a quick listen to that.
Hello there, welcome. Today we're diving into a really interesting topic that's part of our research guide: the differences and challenges in diagnosing autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, in adults.
Ah, yes. It's a crucial area, especially since historically much of the research and diagnostic focus has been.
There you go, you get an idea. So it's basically it's divided up into two different speakers and gives it more of that sort of podcast kind of feel about it. So it's just a different way to sort of process the paper that you've uploaded rather than having to read a great big document. You can have it in this sort of format where it's possibly a little more friendly. A lot of people listen to podcasts, and it's quite a nice one to listen back to. So that's the podcast feature. And then there's a bit here about getting started with research papers. So that was the same as the bit we were looking at before, with talking about sort of different things that you might want to do. And all of these sections, it says sourced by AI. They try to cover themselves a little bit. You can open the original papers, and it should hopefully jump to the internet and find the original. Yep, perfect. And you can, it says 8 relevant snippets. So I click on that and it's come up with different things, different snippets of information from those papers. And again, I've got another paper that's come up with here. So it's come up with lots of different papers and research based on what I've queried and asked for in the actual document. There's quite a few on there. So it's done a good job. It's come up with an awful lot of stuff. And then we've got a research guide, a compilation of relevant areas and research papers that relates to your topic. So again, it's just brought lots of different sources in from the internet. It tells you how long it takes to read, that's AI generated. And it's got various different links in there to different authors. And lots and lots of information there. I could have all this reading back if I wanted to. There's quite a lot of useful stuff in there, which is it's quite interesting. So that's the main thing really with Tailo. So if I just get back to that main page, as I briefly did before, you can create your own project folders as well. So this is just basically just a folder to put all your documents that you want to put into it. So anything you upload, you can put it to the same folder. You can change the color of it if you want to. You can edit or delete it in there. So I'm going to edit. I can change the color if I want to. I can say what kind of project type it is. So let's say it's an essay. I can put something in here. Let's put psychology. Trying to find out more about neurodiversity, for example. And there you go. So it creates that. You can put whatever you want into each folder, and it's just a nice way to organize things. And then you've got this AI view here as well. So the AI again has come up with some more stuff in there, and it links back to the original document that we uploaded. So that is essentially it for Tailo. There's a couple of things like research guides and stuff in there, and you can similar to how we looked at before, so you can just generate things that way as well. And that's sort of the main bulk of it really. You can upload lots of different files, analyze them, and it uses lots of different AI site features to find out, give you a bit more information, and just to sort of break things down a little bit for you, make things hopefully a little bit easier. So I've not gone into it in absolutely massive depth, but hopefully it's given you a bit of an idea of what Tailo is and what you can do with it. Okay, I shall leave that there. Thank you very much. Well, that's Bye.